You know, we hear the word bombshell, and I think certainly it's true in this case.
Hi, congratulations. Thanks for taking the time out. I know you guys must be really, really busy, but
This blockbuster book, I've been reveling in your extracts. Very juicy stuff.
The myth of the Sussexes is bleeding out in real time. For years, Harry and Meghan lived under the arrogant delusion that they could chain the truth and force-feed the world a scripted fairy tale. They traded their royal birthright for a Hollywood lens, believing that a $100 million Netflix deal could act as a permanent shroud for the secrets they left behind in London. But the fortress of silence they built in Montecito is being breached by a whisper that has become a war cry. This is no longer about petty family squabbles or bruised egos. It is an existential threat to the British throne. The burning question, the one that makes palace courtiers wake up in a cold sweat, is no longer why they left, but who exactly are the children they claim to be heirs to the crown. The glossy, soft-focus narrative of their truth has been incinerated by a firestorm of public suspicion. As the dark rumors of biological deception and staged pregnancies move from the fringes of the internet to the front pages of history, Harry and Meghan have lost their most precious commodity: control. They are no longer the directors of their own drama. They are the desperate subjects of a global interrogation. The cinematic lighting has flickered out, the rehearsed smiles have frozen, and the world is finally looking past the celebrity mask. The Sussexes' house of cards isn't just falling, it's being demolished by the very reality they tried to bury. The shadows of doubt have found their master, and his name is Tom Bower. This is the moment the Sussexes' nightmare shifted from the chaotic fringes of the internet into the cold, surgical light of a mainstream interrogation. For years, the whispers of moon bumps and surrogacy were dismissed as the fever dreams of trolls. But the game changed irrevocably when a biographer of Bower's lethal reputation stepped into the ring. He does not trade in the cheap currency of tabloids. He unearths the kind of uncomfortable facts that survive the fire of a courtroom. When Bower speaks of a foundation built on lies, the world no longer just wonders. It listens with a bated, terrified breath. At the heart of this escalating crisis is a direct assault on the sanctity of the British throne, the born of the body requirement. This isn't a mere breach of privacy, it is a potential constitutional fraud of the highest order. The accusation suggests that the birth announcements, the frantic hospital timelines, and the carefully guarded secrecy were not acts of protection, but a coordinated military-style cover-up. If the lineage of Archie and Lilibet was indeed bypassed through surrogacy or deception, the line of succession isn't just tainted, it is broken. By dragging these dark theories into the unforgiving glare of the mainstream, Bower has stripped the couple of their last shield, leaving them to face a brutal reality. In the world of the royals, it is never the secret that destroys you, but the desperate, calculated lie used to hide it. One might ask, if these accusations are a fabrication, why haven't the Sussexes unleashed a legal holy war to silence them? The answer is not found in their principles, but in their bank accounts. When Harry and Meghan walked away from the crown, they didn't just leave behind a family. They severed their primary lifeline of sovereign funding. To maintain the glittering, high-octane lifestyle of Montecito, a world of private security, sprawling estates, and relentless luxury, they were forced to trade their royal mystique for corporate gold. They walked straight into the cold embrace of Netflix and global publishing houses, effectively signing away their dignity for a paycheck. Now they are trapped in a deal with the devil. They need the money, and to get it, they must remain relevant through the very drama that is slowly consuming them. This financial desperation has stripped the couple of their last shred of credibility. They are no longer viewed as the humanitarian royals they aspired to be. They are seen as content creators whose primary product is their own crisis. Critics point out that they can't afford to bite the hand that feeds them, nor can they risk a courtroom discovery process that might shatter their remaining illusions. They have traded the quiet protection of the palace for the noisy, fickle stage of reality TV fame, and they are now reaping the bitter harvest. By turning their lives into a commodity, they have lost the moral high ground to demand privacy. In their quest for financial independence, they have become slaves to the very media machine they once claimed to despise, caught in a cycle of anger and suspicion that pays the bills but starves the soul. While the Sussexes count their millions, the cold, clinical details of their past are beginning to resurface, and some are proving impossible to explain away. The official narrative of Archie's arrival at Portland Hospital, once presented as a triumph of privacy, is now being picked apart as a masterpiece of contradiction. From the very first hour, the story felt fabricated. Experts point to the glaring inconsistencies in birth times and the baffling, coordinated effort to mislead the public about the onset of labor. In the rigid world of the monarchy, where births are treated with the precision of a state event, the Sussex operation felt less like a celebration and more like a covert military maneuver designed to evade the truth. But it is the visual evidence that has turned curiosity into a feverish interrogation. For years, internet sleuths have compiled a damning dossier of anomalies, the so-called moon bumps that appeared to shift, deflate, or change size in a single afternoon, and the physically defying spectacle of Meghan squatting in stiletto heels while allegedly in the final stages of pregnancy. In any other context, these might be dismissed as cruel gossip, but when combined with the total absence of medical witnesses and the palace's own awkward refusal to verify the signatures on the birth announcements, the picture becomes sinister. We are left with a haunting void where medical transparency should be. If this was a journey of genuine motherhood, why does every piece of evidence feel like a carefully guarded prop in a high-stakes play? The world is tired of the shadows. We are ready for the light. If you believe the integrity of the crown must be protected from this web of secrecy, join the conversation below and tell us, is this a mother's right to privacy or a kingdom's right to the truth? But the heaviest price of this grand deception isn't being paid in reputation alone. It is being etched into the very soul of Prince Harry. As the world stares at the clinical anomalies of his children's birth, a far more visceral tragedy is unfolding within the man who was once the monarchy's golden warrior. The charismatic soldier who once commanded respect on the front lines has been replaced by a figure of profound psychological disintegration. Harry has become a prisoner of his own paranoia. A man allegedly tethered to the toxic glow of his smartphone, doom-scrolling through a digital wasteland of criticism while pacing the silent halls of his mansion in a state of frantic agitation. He has taken the raw trauma of his past and twisted it into a weapon of self-destruction, blaming a global conspiracy for a reality he himself helped architect. The true heartbreak, however, lies in the systematic erasure of his identity. The band of brothers he once served with, the men who knew his heart before the Hollywood lights, have reportedly retreated in silent disgust, unable to recognize the shell of the man he has become. This isolation appears to be a cold-blooded masterstroke of design. By effectively placing a fatwa on his old life, Meghan has severed Harry's last lifelines to his own history. Trapped in a gilded echo chamber and surrounded only by those on the payroll, the prince stands utterly vulnerable. He is a man who traded his family, his friends, and his heritage for a scripted fairy tale, only to find himself alone in the dark, haunted by the very secrets he was told would set him free. While Harry spirals in a house of mirrors, his wife is playing a far more chilling game. If Harry is the fire, erratic, emotional, and self-consuming, Meghan is the ice. While her husband paces the halls in a state of frantic agitation, she has adopted a cold, calculated strategy of legal warfare and curated silence. There are no public breakdowns for the Duchess. Instead, she operates through the jagged edges of cease and desist letters and a battery of high-priced attorneys. She seeks to dominate the narrative by sheer force, attempting to bury the questions about her children beneath a mountain of litigation. Yet, this obsession with control is backfiring with spectacular irony. In her aggressive attempt to silence the whispers, she has inadvertently triggered the Streisand effect in its most potent form. The more she tries to hide the truth, the more the world burns to uncover it. Every legal threat and every icy refusal to provide transparency serves only to sharpen the public's curiosity. Critics argue that her silence isn't a plea for privacy, but a tactical retreat to protect her ultimate assets, status, and wealth. But you cannot lawyer your way out of biological reality. While she tries to intimidate her critics into submission, the institution she attacked is doing something far more damaging. They are watching her fortress crumble in absolute, deafening silence. The hunt did not begin at a blind date. It began with a blueprint. To understand why the mystery of the children is so fiercely guarded, one must look back to long before the royal wedding, into the cold ambition of a woman who viewed the world as a ladder. According to the meticulous findings of Tom Bower, Meghan Markle was not a victim of fate, but a master of the hunt. As far back as 2013, she was allegedly scouring the upper echelons of British society, searching for a man of status to solve her ceilinged career and fuel her hunger for global relevance. She didn't just stumble into the arms of a prince, she targeted a bloodline. This context transforms Archie and Lilibet from mere children into what critics call the ultimate insurance policies. In this strategic business acquisition of a marriage, the children are the permanent anchors that prevent Meghan from ever being cut adrift from the royal brand. They are the golden links to a legacy that keeps the cameras rolling and the multi-million-dollar deals signed. This is why the ambiguity surrounding their births feels so sinister to those who watch The Crown. If the foundation of the relationship was built on a calculated pursuit of power rather than a genuine connection, then every chapter of their story, including the very arrival of their heirs, becomes a suspect in a grand cinematic manipulation. But while Meghan plays her hand, the Crown is responding with a silence that feels like a slow-motion execution. This is the most damning indictment of the Sussex mystery, the terrifying hollow void where royal validation should be. The contrast is not just sharp, it is surgical. We see the children of William and Catherine thriving in the sunlight, their legitimacy etched into every public appearance, and their lives woven into the very fabric of the nation's future. In haunting contrast, Archie and Lilibet remain ghosts of the monarchy. There are no tender portraits with King Charles, no anecdotes of royal grandparenthood, and no official embrace to anchor them to the family tree. This distance is far more than a family feud. It is a tactical withdrawal that suggests a looming constitutional disaster. By grey-rocking the Sussexes and keeping these children at a cold, sterile distance, Buckingham Palace appears to be insulating itself from a truth that could shatter the line of succession. If the king firmly believed the narrative was above board, a single unified photograph would extinguish the fires of rumor in a heartbeat. The palace's absolute refusal to offer that one simple gesture is a silent verdict that hangs over Montecito like a guillotine. It signals to the world that the institution isn't just protecting its privacy. It is protecting its survival from a fraud it can no longer afford to ignore. This chilling detachment from the palace brings us to the jagged heart of the matter. The Crown is not merely a family, but a legal fortress built on the sacred purity of bloodlines. Is this a desperate plea for a normal life? Or is the silence the final admission of a royal fraud? Cast your vote in the comments and join the hunt for the truth. The curtains are falling, but the mystery remains. Is this a final plea for privacy or the collapse of a royal facade? We want to hear your verdict in the comments. Thank you for watching and keeping the conversation alive.